Hey, what's up, Roxstars? It's Rox with a little bit of talk about what's at the top of the blog, so let's get to it. All right, Roxstars, before we get started with the video, let me just do a little housekeeping, a few things. First up, shout out to Whitney Thomas, the famed photographer up there in Philadelphia, who sent me this shirt that I just loved. It says black as fuck since 1970. And a bunch of other shirts from his company Contrast. I'm going to leave a link for it down in the bar below. But yeah, you guys, he sent this to me, and it's a cute little girl's t-shirt, and it fits perfectly. And yes, Whitney, I love it. Thank you so much for all of those. If you guys read here, it says black as fuck since when? 1970. If you count back or count forward from 1970 till now, then you know that this would be my 50th year of life. And actually, somebody that we all know and love is having a 50th birthday next week, you guys. Hey, 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 hey. That's right, you guys. Oh, Rocky is going to be the big 5-0 the day after Christmas. You guys know this is Capricorn. This is Capricorn country, not Crip. Y'all not throwing up no sign. I'm telling you guys that to let you know that this is going to be, actually, we'll get another top of the blogs at the end of the month, but we won't get one next week. One, because it is going to be my birthday. That is right at Christmas. I'm going to be in Park City, Utah. I'm going to Utah to celebrate my birthday and Christmas, and so I won't be here. And although I do have plans of filming Power and, you know, both of the Real Housewives, because I hate getting behind on TV shows, Top of the Blogs and Let's Talk About It are two videos that really I could skip. And with it being Christmas and all next week, I'm not even sure if there will be much happening. I mean, there's always going to be something happening, especially in for Let's Talk About It video. But as far as, yeah, next week, we just won't be doing it, you guys, unless, I mean, I just really get all this time to do it. As of right now, it doesn't look like it will be happening. So I'm just telling you guys, don't be looking for it next week. I'm telling you guys this is the beginning of the video because I know a lot of people don't watch all the way till the end. But yeah, you guys, I'm excited about my trip. And, you know, we're going to be safe and we're going to go because we haven't been on vacation a long time in this time. I got to do something, you guys. And that's all I wanted to tell you guys. That was our housekeeping for the day. Y'all make sure you put that in your mental Rolodex, because I know people will be like, Roxanne, where's Top of the Blogs next week? And yeah, unless you see something different on like Twitter and me announcing something, it just ain't gonna happen, you guys. So just letting you know about that. All right. With that being said, on to the fool of fucking day. All right, you guys, let me start with what is the newest and the hottest gossip since last night. You guys know we've been reeling from the Real Housewives of Potomac reunion, the part 1 that aired on Sunday night, and all of the draggery that happened when Monique broke out her her little tablet, her book, I should say, her book of receipts, where she she just kind of blew up JamalBryant's spot and blew up old Giselle in the process, okay? We've all been talking about it. Everybody is saying that it was probably one of the second best reads that they've seen on the Real Housewives franchise, you know, with Phaedra coming in first. And yeah, so we've been talking about that pretty much all week. And we will be talking about it for a while, especially since we still have 2 more parts to the reunion. But with all of the fun that we've had with that episode, JamalBryant, who is a very real pastor here in Atlanta, Georgia, has been pulled into the fold or the drama because, you know, he is the subject that Monique was speaking of. So I guess because he felt that he needed to take up for himself and clear the air for himself, he took to his YouTube page yesterday with his own book of receipts, if you will. And you guys, it's just listen, the thing is the shit is just, as a pastor, You probably shouldn't even be getting yourself involved in these things. I can't imagine the board at New Birth wanting him to even be speaking on these things. We know from past that JamalBryant does what JamalBryant wants to do. So I don't know if they could have stopped him, but he goes on to talk about his, first of all, he goes on to say that the show, of course, was filmed a year ago, you guys. Remember, they wrapped a year ago. They held on to the show because of COVID. They changed the schedule a little bit. They brought it down later in the year. So all of these things have happened a long time ago, and people need to keep that in mind. He complained about Real Housewives of Potomac, the producers, being, I guess, exaggerating the facts or ignoring the facts. He talked about how the show has had an impact on his daughters. He hasn't been able to be there for his daughters as much because of COVID. The show has made it seem like they don't like him, when really it's just them being hurt over the fact that he's not around as much because he is here. They are there. He's always been quite involved, which is fine. Listen, that part of the conversation was fine. Okay. I totally got that. Then he went on to talk about his dating life. And this is where things get a little, just a little bit touchy. Okay. Because, he's a pastor. And even though we know that pastors are, they're human. So they're men, they're women. They still have a social life. They still have a dating life. And Jamal would be no different. So, but you just don't kind of want to look at your pastor in those terms. We can't help but look at Jamal in that way because we know about his past indiscretions. Okay. And he was a pastor all of that time. So, but he just went on to talk about the fact that he was actually dating somebody. It didn't work out. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. And, this situation that Monique was speaking of, I suppose, was a girl that he had been dating, but it didn't work. What was interesting to me in that part of the video, though, was that him and Giselle were together a year ago. She actually announced that they were seeing each other again at the end of last season. Remember when they was at the reunion, she announced it then. So there may have been some overlap. If we were to actually believe that Giselle and Jamal are actually together, then there would have been some overlap. Let him tell it because he said that it was a year ago. He was dating a girl, it didn't work. Okay. So that was the other thing. But then he kind of takes it to a different level when he starts to talk about Monique. And again, granted, I know the man is human. I know that people have feelings and, sometimes when you feel attacked, you just feel like you have to attack back. But maybe it's just me. I hold pastors, a leader of a flock to a different standard. And so I expect you to not be on YouTube, in these YouTube streets, basically talking bad about Monique, talking about her husband. He has anger management issues. She's living with a man that, that's a problem and all of that. Whether or not it's true or false, not a good look. Okay. You could tell he had his full petty on. Like he had the petty coat of armor around him because, the way that he was speaking, it was all very much like, he kind of still had his pastor voice, but he was being quite petty in the video. And I was just like, come on, Jamal, you had to know that some of this was going to come with, either dating your ex-wife for real or saying that you were dating your ex-wife for real. It's a shame that he got pulled into this because of Giselle's messiness of trying to tear down Monique's relationship. But we know that she was doing that to Monique because Monique, was part of the reason why she and Sherman didn't make it. Oh, not a big part, but definitely she had something that she was a part of the plot of bringing the wife around. Okay. So all of this has history and then Jamal gets dragged into it. But I'm just like, why didn't anybody tell Jamal that, maybe this shit was coming with the fact that even though Giselle is going to always be on the show, she's a favorite. But she's favorite because she's a messy person, and we know that we need that antagonist on the show for the wheels to continue to spin. So I just don't know. Either one, they needed to have, if it was real, they probably should have kept it off of the show. But maybe then she would, we know that Real Housewives, the producers have issues when you try to keep your man separate. at least for the Black housewives, because Kenya was having that same problem. It doesn't happen so much for the other housewives, but I guess Giselle felt there was some sort of threat there and felt like she had to have some, so she had to have his I don't know, access to him on the show. I mean, he lived in the phone. He wasn't on the show, except for a few times. So, I watched the video last night and I was just like, oh, Jamal, maybe you just need to serve the Lord. Okay. Maybe you just need to be, cause they're doing work at the church. Just like he said, they're feeding people. They're trying to make a difference in the community, prison reform, all of that. Okay. You don't need this. You do not need it because it's not helping his image. I'm sure it's not helping his church. Because nobody wants to, especially listen, if my mom was still alive and she was going to a church and her pastor was always in the gossipy news talking about him, baby mamas. And I mean, my mom was old school. Ain't nobody trying to do that. Okay. Back then the pastors did do all of this, but it was very hidden. Nobody knew, all this social media and everybody wanted to be out and in front of the camera and everything, so maybe it's time for him to pull back and go back to that way of being. If you have work to do for the Lord, then go do the work for the Lord. But all of this, And I can't imagine it dying down because, like I said, we just getting to the meat of the reunion. The second part is always where the shit really goes down. So it's coming, so next week is even going to be hotter as far as Real Housewives of Potomac is concerned, than it is this week, so I'm just like, I don't know, Jamal, but that probably wasn't the best look, but I mean, what do you guys think? And, I do get that he's a man, he's grown, he's human, he has feelings, he don't want to have to keep telling people that he ain't out here impregnating all of Atlanta. I'm sure that can be tiring. But when you feed into it, I feel like it just gets worse, and this is definitely him feeding into it. He talked about her father having a problem with him. But he said that he's never had a man-to-man sit-down talk with him. And I was just like, well, why haven't you? If you really was serious with trying to be with Giselle and knowing how you hurt her in the past and knowing that the daddy is always going to be protective of their child, their daughter, okay, you can tell that he loves Giselle. I mean, it seems like that would have been like the first order of business. Like, I need to talk to your dad. I need to just really clear the space so he can know that I'm true blue to this and I'm really trying to make this happen. You to just come back and just act like nothing happened and he still has all these feelings. But if you did not say anything to him, like, what's he supposed to think? So, yeah, I just was like, oh, I don't know, Jamal. But you guys let me know what you think about that video. What are your feelings on it? What are your comments on it? Was he right or wrong doing what he's doing? Do you believe Giselle saying that all that was lies in that I keep on wanting to say receipt book? Y'all let me know what you think. And then, you guys, since we're talking about Real Housewives gossip and the whatnots, let's talk about Candace talking about Porsha of all people. Not even on the same TV show. They belong to the same franchise, but they're not on the same TV show. And as far as I know, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I know, I don't think that Porsha has spoken out really against Candace. Okay. Some of the reasons why people have issue with Candace is that sometimes she has a tendency to butt her nose in places that no one asked her or it didn't belong. So she went on to a podcast, you guys. The name of the podcast was Behind the Velvet Rope podcast with David Youssef. Okay. And they were talking about the show and not quite sure what led her to answer this way, but I'm going to read to you what she said. She said, I think Porsha and Kenya kind of took it too far, but you've seen a lot. Leanne, when she pulls off her belt and she's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. So you've seen people push the line, but never really cross it outside of Porsha, who has proven herself to be the sidekick of all. I guess Monique would be Porsha's sidekick, just the two wild people defending each other, which is very cute. She also went on to kind of imply that the reason why both Monique and Porsha act the way that they are is because of their upbringing, making it seem like either they weren't brought up correctly, ghetto, hood, ratchet, whatever. Okay. And so now I'm thinking to myself, like, even though Candace did gain quite a few fans this season, I think, I was like, girl, you don't want to go up against Porsha's fans. I was just like, girl, this is not the road that you want to take. You put Kenya and Porsha in that conversation. Like, Porsha and Kenya stans, they are, when I'm telling you guys, they take that shit to the heart. They take it to the heart. And she's always been, this whole season, been complaining about social media and the bullies being out there and coming against her and her nerves being bad and she, PTSD and her not knowing what's going to happen and all. I was like, girl, this ain't the way to get the hounds off of you. Definitely not a good idea for her to speak on that. She can say whatever she wants. I'm just saying, girl, I hope you ready for what comes with when you talk about really most of the Real Housewives on Atlanta. They all have a good healthy fan base, a good healthy one. But Kenya, Porsha, I think anybody who could tell you who does reviews, and we see the comments and we hear people talking about them, honey, this ain't what you want. This ain't what you want. So hopefully this won't gain much traction. I don't know if Porsha has responded to it. In Kenya, I don't know if they have. Kenya don't strike me as the type that will let something go. But like I said, this more so was about Porsha and Monique. But I was just like, girl, you love me. I'm just telling you. Go on and be with your husband, get pregnant, and be in your nice new house. And leave all the rest of that alone, Candace. And now, since we're talking about Real Housewives of Atlanta, let's talk about the ratings. Last week, when I was asking for comments, somebody said the Real Housewives of Atlanta's poor ratings. And I was like, the show just started. It's the first episode of the season, and you are already talking about ratings. Well, the second week came, and the ratings aren't all that good either. I think at Real Housewives peak, which was around season 6, 7, 8, in that time, they were getting even close to almost 5 million views weekly. Okay, it went somewhere between 3 and 5 million, 3 and 4.9, 4.8 million views a week. Okay, that was Camelot. All right. As time has gone on, the views have gone down, but they've held pretty steady around 2 million, 2.5 million views the last couple of years. Okay. Now we done got started with this year, and their views, I believe for the first episode was like 1.1 million, which is low. And then it was a little bit higher on the second episode. I think with the introduction of Drew and LaToya and everything that comes with them, I believe that their views will go up higher and that their ratings will go up higher. But as a whole, the show hasn't been holding those high ass numbers. And even last season and the season before, they had some 1 million, 1 point something million views per episode. So we not doing them big high numbers no more. The very low 2 million views weekly, and into the 1 million, higher 1 point something million views weekly. So I don't think it's any cause for alarm. If we've been watching this show historically, we know that the show, as the time goes on, the views kind of go up because as the drama increases, then more people tune in because they want to see how it's going to work. And then sometimes that can backfire because people will get so fucking fed up and tired of the drama that they will tune out. Okay. But I don't know. I don't feel like it's really any cause for alarm yet. If we get down to about the episode 5 or 6 and they still having these type of numbers, then yes, there is an issue there. And they're going to have to tweak it some kind of way. But right now, I think we just need to keep our eye on it. Of course, Nene, the housewife who was an OG housewife who is no longer on the show, she was poking fun at the numbers. She did post on her Twitter, is that the number? Okay, and just one of her, very popular GIFs or GIFs. What do you call them? GIFs? GIFs? Of her like kind of doing one of her faces and another one of her like sipping tea. And we can let Nene have that. I mean, why can't she be shady when they put her off the show? Whether or not it's because she wanted to be off or not, she ain't there no more. If she wants to speak on it, I mean, she can. So, it's fine. But like I said, I think that we'll just have to wait and see. But I really do think that this new burst of energy that they got with Drew and LaToya, especially LaToya, because LaToya brings a whole lot with her, I think that the numbers will start to rise up a little bit, you guys. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll keep our eye on it, and we'll talk on it more if we have to as the season goes along. That was a whole bunch of Real Housewives tea, wasn't it? All right, you guys, so let's talk about Lizzo. So it looks like she came under fire because she had posted that she was going on a 10-day smoothie detox. And folks were upset with her about that. They said that she was contributing to the whole diet culture that's out there where people unrealistically post what they eat and, how they exercise and put the pressure on people to, I guess too much of anything is a bad thing, but is it bad to eat healthy or to go on a detox or to be concerned about your weight? The thing is that Lizzo has been put in this category where she's like the spokeswoman for all big, beautiful women. Okay. And that's not because she hasn't contributed that, her own self to that. She's always out there. She speaks about being body confident. She's big and she loves it. And she posts herself naked or very, scantily clad. And, she's very much in your face. Like, this is me, take it or leave it. Love me for what I am. But what I think people don't realize or people don't remember that everybody has those days when they're not feeling so sure about themselves. Okay. And the bad thing about it is when you're a celebrity, sometimes you're not allowed to have those days because everybody expects you to be like, I am woman, hear me roar all the time. Nobody seems to remember that there are some days when you wake up and you're not too sure about how you look and you're not comfortable and, you just don't want to be that. But she is there. This is the place this is the platform, or the podium, I should say, not the podium. What's the word? When I get up on my, what's the word? Let me get off of my soapbox. When she gets up there and she speaks so passionately about loving herself and all of that, people just don't want her to be any other kind of way. So they were giving her all kind of flack for it, I should say. And, it was where I think that her having to just be this positive, body positive person all the time is starting to weigh on her. Okay. And maybe it has come to a point where she's not quite as happy with her weight as she has been in the past. And maybe she does want to make some differences. Maybe she's talked to a doctor and the doctor said, you need to do this, that, and the other and make some changes. She doesn't have to tell us that part, but I don't think it's bad that she, if she decides to do a detox for 10 days, that everybody needs to now be mad at Lizzo for, because I'm just like, first of all, 10-day detox, I'm sure she's lost a little bit of weight, but she's not going to lose not no substantial weight, for a 10-day detox. And when she came back to explain why she even did the detox, she didn't even really say it was because of her weight. It was more so that she just was feeling sluggish. She had been drinking a lot. She had been eating a lot of the wrong things. I guess she hadn't been really active. And she just she felt like her system needed a boost, just like anybody else that does a detox. They felt like it's some shit in there that's sludging her down and she needed something to just kind of pep her back up. And she said that 10-day detox did exactly that. She said that she had more energy. She said that even the whites of her eyes was brighter. I said, maybe it's because you wasn't drinking as much either. But I'm just saying, like, she said that was the reason why she did it. And, it's just the tremendous pressure that is on these artists to perform and to be is ridiculous, especially for somebody who's young. She's still young. She's still trying. She's not young, but she's still in that stage where I feel like she's trying to figure some things out. I think that maybe Lizzo might want to pull back from putting herself out there so much, because the responsibility is too great. So yeah, y'all give Lizzo a break. I know that people will say she's done it to herself, and I mean, I understand that she's, she puts herself out there and everything, but I think now she's probably trying to get out of that, and people won't let her. So I kind of understand, Lizzo. I understand, girl. Whatever you decide for your body, it's your body. So if you want to stay that size, then you stay that size. If you want to get smaller, then you get smaller. It's totally up to her, and it's totally just for her. So hopefully people will give her that space, you guys, and that's it. What do you guys think about it, though? Are you like on Lizzo's side? Are you tired of her, with all of the placing herself out there for everybody to see? You guys let me know. All right, you guys, congratulations are in order to our girl Steen. That's right, you guys, Amira Van, who played Tegan Price on How to Get Away with Murder. It feels weird me even saying Tegan, because I don't know if I even ever said it, maybe once or twice in my reviews. She was always Steen to me, you guys. That's because she used to play the character Ernestine on Underground. You guys know we loved that show, which was about the Underground Railroad. It had Jussie Smollett in there. It had the guy that played MC Ren in NWA movie. What is his name? You guys know who I'm talking about, the dark-skinned guy with the big eyes. Anyway, it was an excellent show. That show got canceled. Now we find out that OWN has picked up the reruns, which I'm still not understanding. I think people are holding out hope that if people watch the reruns and the ratings are high enough there, that they may actually sign on for a third season, because there's only 2 seasons of that show. So I'm not really sure why OWN did that. I didn't really look into it to see, because when they said that I was like, first of all, we even begged you guys to pick up the show back when it was, got canceled, and OWN was like, it's too expensive. We can't put it in our lineup. It's not in the budget. It's this, that, and the other. Now you guys pick up this, and it's just sort of like too little, too late, because the momentum behind that show is probably gone. I mean, the real fans are excited, but I don't know, y'all. I don't know. But anyway, I'm getting off track, y'all. We loved her as Steen on Underground. I'm telling you, she was a house slave. She was like no nonsense. She was strong. She was sexy. It's weird to say that a slave would be sexy, but I mean, she was all of these things, like a very good character. Just for those 2 seasons, I think that is the one of the characters, at least for me, that sticks out in my mind, and that's why I always lovingly called her Steen on How to Get Away with Murder. But anyway, you guys, she's 40 years old and she's pregnant, and I believe this is her first child. Pregnant for the first time with her fiance Patrick. My thing didn't write he has an African last name, and what is it? Oyeku, I believe, is what his last name is. I got it. It's a typo on where I typed it in. iPad always changing up your damn words. But I believe that is it. I believe this is the first child for the both of them. She sat down with Vanity Fair and she had an interview with them, just talking about, the good and the bad and the uglies and the beautiful parts of being pregnant. She's had some complications. She has an incompetent cervix, which you guys know that sometimes that can force you into labor early. She's got to take it easy. I'm sure her age will also factor into that. But you guys, when you see the pictures of her now, like she's big, full belly. I'm not quite sure when the baby is due, but she looks like she's held onto that baby good long enough, and hopefully, she doesn't have any complications. She looks beautiful. She looks happy. She looks like one of those ones that's fully in the whole glow of motherhood and all of that, you guys, because I'm telling you, some of us look like we've been hit by a train. Okay, Miss Van don't look like that. So congratulations to her. Like I said, I don't know when the baby is due, but it should be coming in these next few months, you guys. She's anticipating and should be spitting out the little bundle of joy any day now. Congratulations to, I was about to call her Tegan. Congratulations to Amira and Pat, okay, the happy couple. All right, you guys, next story up. Remember I told you guys about Dave Chappelle and how he was very unhappy with Netflix for streaming the Chappelle show, and he wasn't getting paid for it because Viacom CBS, the contract that he had with them, they didn't have to pay him, okay? And even though it is very legal that Viacom CBS is not paying him, he didn't feel like it was right. So he asked Netflix to not stream his show, and Netflix got rid of him. Got rid of the show, I should say. He also approached HBO Max with very much the same argument that he had with Netflix. And it seems that the chief content officer at HBO said that after they had an emotional conversation with him, they saw things his way, and they decided that at the end of December, they'll close out 2020, and then start January 1. They will not be streaming the Chappelle show any longer either. So just kind of speaks to the tremendous power that Dave Chappelle has. Okay. Not too many people out there, black, white, pink, purple, or green, can go to these big companies like this, these big, huge conglomerates like this, and tell them or ask them to, not do something where very clearly they would make money from it. And then they just go on and say, okay, we won't do that. So, interesting. So I guess he is making headway, you guys. And I'm assuming is going to, there are other streaming places that have it because Viacom CBS, they own many avenues, but I feel like if he can take down the biggest ones, then half of his job is done. I guess he really is just trying to get Viacom CBS to pay him. But we'll see if that happens. They probably are getting more and more pissed as time goes on and he continues to just kind of hammer away at their streams. So we'll see. But yeah, you guys, he's definitely making headway. Quick, what's up with your boy Tyrese? We won't see Tyrese for a long time, and then he'll just come back out just guns blazing, child. Just, with all kind of stupidity and shit that we just did not ask for. So in this version of what the hell is wrong with Tyrese, he posted some strange I don't know what he was talking about, but the first part of it, he talks about the fact that he's always slept in 90-degree heat in his home because of COVID. Well, what he said was he keeps his house at 90 degrees when he goes to sleep because they say that COVID can't survive in the warm heat. In warm temperatures. But that's no difference to him because he's been doing it for years. Let me tell you something, Tyrese. We just went through a hot ass summer. People were still dying from the COVID. People generally don't get as sick in the warmer months than they do in the colder months, but people are still dying. They've been told us a long time ago that the heat does not necessarily keep the COVID away. It's more so the fact that it's warmer, which means that people are more outside and, we're not as close to each other with a roof over our heads. And, the virus can dissipate in the air as opposed to us being, in a situation where we're enclosed. And he got that shit from WhatsApp. And I'm mad that the motherfucker said. So what that told me is, one, the nigga is funky. Because can't nobody sleep in no damn 90-degree heat and don't be sweating. So he's funky as fuck. Secondly, the nigga must have a lifetime supply of Vaseline sitting right on his nightstand because I know his lips is dry. Third, this can probably explain his quest for attention. The nigga is literally thirsty. He's dehydrated, you guys. Fourth, him and his wife can't sleep together because I don't know no woman that can sleep in fucking 90 degrees in the house on purpose and want to do it every fucking single night. Fifth, if he is sleeping with his wife, then he ain't fucking. Because I'm telling you what, we ain't doing it. It's too goddamn hot. Y'all, something is wrong with Tyrese. I promise you. He went on in that post to talk about like people turning their back on you and saying that they need you and they, then they do something to make you feel like you didn't need them in the first place and you don't have to waste your time loving them. I was just like, Tyrese, what's wrong, poo-poo? You ain't out there filming movies and shit, and you just like Kevin Hart, just out there wilding. Shit. Go sit down and be rich and quit talking some old damn nonsense about that nigga know he ain't sleeping in no damn 90-degree weather. A nigga, you would be shriveled up. Shit. Woo, that Tyrese Tyrese is something else.